Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Until their client either buys or fucking dies!
Being sober.
Fucking sucks.
Boring, right?
So boring. I want to kill myself.
All we care about is getting fucking rich.
Fairy dust. It doesn't exist. It's never landed. It is no matter. It's not on the elemental chart. It's not fucking real.
YouTube, Facebook, videos, SoundCloud, Twitter.
Real talk, guys. We are not back. We are not back until that is our theme song of 2024. Let's make that happen. How you guys doing? Merry Christmas. Happy almost New Year, right? We're getting there. As you can see, well, a couple things. Waiting for a few of our guests to join. Henry is going to show up, I think. And I'm hoping Draco is going to come too. I don't know if he's been on the live show yet. He may have been. But the guys are going to roll in. Until then, I think we're going to do a year in review today. What do you think about that? Sly, you're here. Good to see you, man. Assassin, good to see you. Edge, always edging. NFT Gamers, what's up, man? Are you an idiot? And you would know what that means if you're an idiot. That's not an offensive. It's not an offensive thing to say in our circles. But anyway, guys, welcome. Like, really hope the Christmas was great. It's hard to believe that was almost a week ago at this point. But New Year's is right around the corner, and man, I can't wait to just blast right through it and get to what I think we all know is coming next year. I hope is coming next year, which is a pretty freaking wild year for NFTs. If you're watching and if you're in the comments, where do you want to start? You want to start with the market, or you want to get right into like a year in review? I kind of think we should wait for the guys to show up for that part, but you tell me. In the meantime, I'm going to throw up some stuff on the screen here. By the way, screen looks different. I'm just testing some new stuff. Like, the show's definitely going to get a buff next year. Working on some graphics, working on some new like layouts of the screen. It's going to look a little funny between transitions, so just bear with me there. It'll be worth it in the long run. It's just like these little incremental changes. So right now, I'm going to try sharing my screen. I have no idea how it's going to look. Wish me luck. That ain't going to work. That's not going to work either. But that'll work. Okay, that'll work for now. Now, when the guys show up, again, chaos, but we'll make it work. Market. Yeah, let's do market. Cool. Assassin. Okay, it looks all right there. And what NFTs are coming that we should be getting in on? Man, We'll get into that because I hate to say I don't know. I just don't think anybody knows right now. Like, it's kind of a crapshoot. I mean, we're all wondering, is all the action going to be on Bitcoin? Which, yes. Is it going to be on Solana? Which, again, yes. And inevitably, it'll be on Ethereum too. I hope, right? I mean, I'm assuming Ethereum's going to bounce back nicely, that we're going to have an epic run on Ethereum, especially when that blast stuff unlocks. And again, we're going to get to that. But right now, man, there's nothing I could tell anyone to get. Actually, other than, okay, if you want to know what to get, man, you got to look at the node monkeys. You got to look at the node monkeys over on Bitcoin. That's the one, man. It just dropped yesterday on secondary. They minted a few days before, right? Like, they think they minted end of last week, but they hit secondary yesterday. They're like 0.07 Bitcoin already, which is already expensive, but those are grails. Those are going to, I mean, they'll flip Bitcoin frogs, and Bitcoin frogs are like 0.3 Bitcoin. They hit 0.5 at one point. But I mean, there's people calling those already the crypto punks of Bitcoin. One, because of how early they were actually inscribed, but there's something about the community and the original art. The art is just so different on that. In fact, kind of before the market, let me just show those real quick, because they're freaking incredible, man. I mean, I wish I got one. I didn't. I'm trying to get Liquid to get one, but I think they're kind of out of reach for me already. So if you don't know the Node Monkeys, this is them. They started inscribing, 83,000 in that range. So they finished, like, if we're talking about 10K collections, there's the argument that Bitcoin punks are the first 10K collection on Bitcoin. They actually are, but they're not original art. So they're kind of disqualified. You have the, not SMB, on-chain monkeys, right? They were inscribed early, but it was all inscribed like on one sat, and it just it's not the same as having each individual one inscribed. So then you got the honey badgers who inscribed earlier than this, but they didn't complete their collection until over 1 million. So they didn't get them all in as early as node monkeys. And while they were original art, and I love them, and I have a bunch of them, and I do think badgers are going to be pretty freaking fantastic, node monkeys is kind of a culture thing. And again, the art's pretty fucking cool. Like, man, they're unique. They kind of check all the boxes. So if you're asking what one NFT to be getting right now, I can't think of anything that's bigger, better than node monkeys with the kind of upside that they'll have. And again, just for comparison, I'm going to show the Bitcoin frogs. Which right now, they're at a quarter Bitcoin. Dude, remember when these were under 0.01? Right now, you have 4 of these, and you got a full Bitcoin. So, yeah, it's node monkeys. If there's one NFT to get, it's node monkeys. There's a million NFTs you can get and do well, for sure. I mean, it's going to be an electric start of the year. But yeah, if you want my one pick, it's node monkeys. You guys familiar with them, by the way? Like, are node monkeys on people's radar right now? I'll show you too. I tweeted about them this morning. Did that from the Crypto Slam account. Actually, okay, we're going to get to the market. But two things to kick this off. Okay, first, the node monkeys. So somebody else fired off a tweet and tagged us in it. Just saying that they're catching eyes, and they are, and there's some big sales in the node monkeys, like this $60,000 sale already. That community is like, they're rabid. They really are, like, super active, super engaged. Yeah, man, it's kind of all node monkeys. Here's the bigger thing, though. Okay, I looked at the market this morning. It's kind of how I start my day, is looking at Crypto Slam leaderboards. And I'm like, man, where's all the ETH collections? And we know they've kind of faded right now, but as I'm looking through, I'm checking the 24 hours, I'm checking the 7 days. I'm looking at the 7 days. I'm like, dude, again, where the hell are all the Ethereum collections? Dude, not one Ethereum collection in the top 10, but not one, literally. Had to get all the way down to number 16 to find the first Ethereum collection, again, in the 7-day period. And it's not even your traditional NFT collection. It's a play on BRC20s and SPL20s. It's inscriptions. So INS20s. Here at number 16. And then in the top 30, there are only 5 Ethereum collections on the week. So things are changing on Ethereum. I think it's temporary, but it is a sign of what's to come. And it's just this pretty obvious signal that the future NFTs is absolutely multi-chain. It absolutely is. And I'll tell you this. It's the reason that at Crypto Slam, we focus so aggressively at covering all these blockchains. We weren't focused on just Ethereum, just the big boy chains. It was as many as possible because the NFT scene is going to live across them all. And again, we're seeing that play out in real time right now. And it was happening in the bear market. I just think the Bitcoin inscriptions and ordinals threw rocket fuel on that. They really did, because they legitimized that idea that Ethereum is not going to be the king. Now all of a sudden it's Bitcoin's going to be the king. But people are like, okay, if it's not Ethereum, well, that tells me at least it can be other people, other places, and that's helping Solana. That will help Polygon, and I do think they're going to catch up at some point. Avalanche has been absolutely bonkers lately too. So yeah, multi-chain future here, and we'll show it all to you. Kicking it into the market though, actually up this morning barely. I mean, we're all but flat, I guess, up 0.07%. The Forecast 500 is measuring the value of the NFT market, and this is a cross-chain measure. So this is including, I want to say like 10 different blockchains. We got Ethereum, Solana, Polygon. You can see the list here. So good temperature check of the NFT market and specifically the value of the market. Again, pretty darn flat. On the week, actually better than we were. Earlier in the week, we were down around 4% in the 7-day period. Right now, down 0.76%. Not terrible. Really not terrible, considering this is the calm before the storm. And I believe that fully, man. Really, really do. But zooming out, you can get a better picture of where we're at. And we look phenomenal heading into the new year. So right now, up 37%. Again, looking at the value of NFTs, that's not even talking sales volume. Sales volume is what's really caught my eye here. We'll get to that sales volume, I think, here in just a moment. Quick, we'll look at the top 10 collections here. Again, like no Ethereum. Oh, actually, Pudgy Penguins are about to cross up in there. They're actually moving a bit. But it's the ordinals at number 1. A lot of that is those node monkeys that are selling right now. They're in that uncategorized ordinals collection. Gas Hero on Polygon. I don't know a ton about that collection, although I think they're related to Steppen. If you guys remember, that was like a walk or run to earn platform. There's some relation there. Maybe it's from the same founders, same, kind of company. But those have been doing numbers and people like it. It's kind of, at this point, it is the king of Polygon, which good and bad, right? It used to be Trump NFTs and DraftKings were the king of Polygon. Now it's kind of this, I don't want to say unheard of. I don't want to diminish what that is, but it's not the same as what you see on other chains here. Fragana's at number 5. It's one I'm super regretting not getting into. Those, although they've fallen from their highs of, mid 20 SOL, man, again, like 25, 27 SOL, they fell to like under 10 the other day. In fact, I'm going to peek here at their average sale price. But these you could have gotten for like 0.01, 0.05 SOL. This was just last week. And look at these average sale prices. And by the way, again, because the screen changes, if this is hard to see on your end, like if you're on mobile or I don't know if you watch on TV, if it's hard to see, let me know so I can like kind of zoom in and shift stuff. I'll zoom in a little here just to start. Average sale prices right now, actually, we're going to go way back, okay? When they minted, $16, $17, $40, you can see they kind of quickly climbed, but they had that period there where you could get them for, basically pennies. And then they took off the, kind of, I guess, the WAGMI cabal. A bunch of Bored Apes, really. It's not the cabal, but a bunch of Bored Apes saw this collection. They aped in. Average sale price was basically an ETH. That lasted for a day, and you had this pullback, especially a couple days ago, but they're kind of coming back here right now. So if anyone's great at math, $1,600 is about how much SOL. If SOL's around 100, it's probably around $100 still. So about 16. Actually, it's pretty awesome because, again, they did fall to 10, and they might have actually fallen under 10. So pretty strong comeback here, and you're seeing influencers. Okay, I'm trying to think of who. It's not Zeneca. I don't think I saw him in it. But guys of that stature, right? The big-name dudes, they are starting to get into that collection. So Fraganas, they're going to be a big PFP over on Solana. So if you want to know what to get into, those are probably at a sweet spot right now where it might be smart to get into that collection. D-Market's a collection. I'm not going to stay on this stuff too long, but D-Market is a collection in the bear market to just reinforce that belief that this is going multi-chain. So D-Market's still in the top 10 here, especially on low volume days. They come up in that top 10 because they're consistent. They're always over 500,000 sales. They're often over 1 million sales. And if you don't know, D-Market are Counter-Strike Go skins. It's also Dota 2, Rust, whole bunch of gaming skins. And a lot of people don't realize that's what those are, but that's what those are. Gods Unchained in the top 10. Love that. Again, Pudgy Penguins about to crack that top 10. And then the blockchain rankings. Of course, Bitcoin's the king here. 7 days. This is where stuff kind of got interesting. Solana again flipping Ethereum. That's like 2 or 3 weeks in a row that Solana is ahead of Ethereum. Bitcoin, man, at this point, I mean, they almost outsell every other chain combined. Not quite this week, but in the past weeks, they actually were. And check this out, actually. This was just a few days ago. It's a legitimate sale. This is not a wash sale. This is a tiny, maybe 100 edition collection over on Solana. They're called Boogles. But man, a $250,000 sale on a Solana NFT, those kind of things, again, just legitimize those ecosystems in a different way. So really, really interesting stuff going on Solana. And I guess if we're looking at that 7-day period, the Fraganas are the top PFP collection in that time period. So they're beating Bored Apes, they're beating CryptoPunks, they're beating everyone. In fact, they're the only PFP collection in the top 10. So again, good to look at this stuff cross-chain. You get a better idea of where the money's at, what people are buying, and those big sales, again, are very, very good for those ecosystems. So love to see that. All right, let me think if there's any other market stuff. Oh, there is something. Yeah. 30 days. Okay, when you click on this view and you look here at the top, this is not like a defined period. It's a rolling 30-day period, or if you click 7 days, it's a rolling 7 days. Right now, the rolling 30-day sales volume is over 1.7 billion. So perspective, right? It tells you where we're at this point. 1.7 billion in a weekly period, or I'm sorry, no, monthly period. Let's see how far back we have to go to see those kind of numbers. Because I don't think we saw that earlier this year. In fact, no, I'm sure we didn't. It's like December right now, 1.6 billion for December with 1 day to go. So we got like 36 hours to go in this data period. 1.6 billion. We didn't cross. No, I take that back. We did cross a billion earlier this year, but we smashed both January and February. But the last time we were higher was May 2022. That was the all-time peak of the bull. Like that was it, guys, right? That was 2022, the all-time high of the NFT market. That was up here. So this month, well, we're not really close to that. In fact, we're not even halfway there. We're the highest since then. And I think if you kind of project out a little bit of what this chart's going to look like here, it's going to look like that, kind of classic recovery. You've seen that. You've seen what a bear market looks like, and you see what that scoop out of the market looks like. And then you recover, and it's like all those losses are recovered. Now we're talking about sales volume, but all that sales volume is coming right back here. So I think this is going to play out perfectly where we'll see that scoop and we're going to just maintain, honestly, probably these levels. That'd be nice, actually, if we do, but probably we'll maintain those levels again for a period of time. I mean, every reason to believe that we're going to see that beginning of the year run. Now, I don't remember last week if I showed this. I did a little digging and, in the charts and in the numbers to show the past 2 years how we begin that run, how December's high matches up to our high for the next year. Actually, I didn't show that because that was my newsletter this week. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to dig and find that real quick. Not going to be hard here. By the way, anyone watching? Actually, hang on. Henry message. Let me see if he's coming on. Okay, Henry's running a little late, but he is going to be here. Okay, so I am going to pull up some of these numbers I found. It's really interesting. Okay, it might be hard to see. So let's fix this a little bit. All right, how does that look? You can see that, right? Let me catch up on comments here real quick. Last bull for you started when you minted Mechaverse. Oh my goodness. So sorry. So sorry, man. And what we got? Yeah, dude, the fees are insane. And imagine when the volume really comes back. So those fees are insane because it is still people playing DeFi. Is that right, Andrew? And that's what sucks when people are trading, shit coins and doing the DeFi stuff. It hurts the NFT side. And at this point, if you've legitimized these other chains, okay, well, how about this? If you've already decided that, yes, Bitcoin is expensive and it's slow, but there's value there. So now you got your choice of expensive fees on Ethereum or expensive fees on Bitcoin. Why wouldn't you just choose Bitcoin? And then your other option is, well, if you don't want to pay high fees, why don't you just go to Solana? So Ethereum's in some real trouble. It's not gonna have an impact in the long run, I don't think. Like Ethereum's gonna be just fine. But to your point, it is L2. Solana and L2s are gonna win. Blast is gonna be absolutely bonkers. Frame is gonna be absolutely bonkers. And this new marketplace that's coming from Magic Eden and Yuga Labs, well, okay, now with Yuga Labs making wrappers for all their assets, that could very possibly be an L2. It could be. I don't think it is, but it's possible. So L2s is where this stuff is going to thrive. I think Frame is going to be massive. Ethereum's difficult. It really is. But those fees kill it. They absolutely kill it. Oh, you won on those. Okay, dude, that's cool. I thought because Mechaverse turned into a disaster for some people. So if you did well on those, awesome. Yeah, congrats on that. You played that perfectly then. Yeah, I wish I got them then. Ethereum will keep lagging. It's totally true. Only thing that changes that is if people are winning and winning big. Like right now, people are winning. Shit, I'm going to come back to this because I just want to show you. People are actually winning still. Trade profits. This month. Okay. We've been in the negative for trade profits all year. All year. What is this month? This is probably February. Yeah. In February, sellers on the winning end, 13, 14 million bucks. Since then, everything negative. People losing money like crazy. This month, people are up 86 mil. That's not happening over on Ethereum, though. When that starts coming to Ethereum and people are making gains, and those big gains, so like Assassin was just saying, those type of gains, 7 ETH gains, they don't give a shit about fees at that point. You know what? They'll pay those fees and they won't care one bit. But as long as profits aren't there in a big way on Ethereum, you can't do it. You're not making enough to cover those fees. So yeah. It will keep lagging, and it will have a bounce back. Like, man, the time you want to get into an ecosystem is when people are fudding it, when it's got that negative press. Again, you want to be playing things almost opposite. So this is probably the time to be in Ethereum and focusing hard and looking for discounts because they are there for sure. But Ethereum, again, has serious competition, and that competition's never going to go away. It's just going to get more and more. So this is what I pointed out in the newsletter here that came out Tuesday. So this is showing December 2021. And the point of this, by the way, is just to show we have these high points in December, but we always go much, much higher, usually early in the next year. So December 2021, things felt great. We had that bounce back. That was around the time of the SOS airdrop, right? That's kind of what was fueling that December kind of, lead up. Ultimately, though, the market saw an 89% increase as it went to January. January was the high of the market in 2022. Is that right? I feel like I just showed that March. Whatever. You get the point. Early 2022 was the high point, and we saw an 89% increase from December to there. Okay? Last year was the exact same thing. 2022's high, and we're going to get into what kickstarted this. But there's 2022's high. That led to a 77% increase in early 2023. This is when people were going ballistic farming on Blur. And 2020 to 2021 did the same thing. I didn't show it here because it was just a different market. That was going from nobody trading NFTs to all of us coming into the space, starting to trade for the first time. So it only had one way to go. It could only go up. But the trend's set here. Like it's hard to rely on historical trends in NFTs, but this is one of those things that it kind of is what it is. Hey, what's good? Is that Q? Is that Q on the Web3 account? I think it is. It's good to see you, bro. Dude, if you want to come up, come on up. If you're getting your beauty sleep still, I get it. What do you think of the graphics? Good to see you, though, man. It's like, it's embarrassing to make graphics and put it out there because it's not what I do. But at some point, you just got to do it and learn to get better at it. So that's what I'm doing, man. I'm just trying. And I will just keep getting better at that stuff. Okay, so if you tuned in late, what we're going to do here is review 2023. Kind of just hit the major events that happened because it was a really, really cool year. Like, really cool. I mean, man, we just faced the most brutal NFT bear. But in the midst of that, just so many cool stories that really defined the year for NFTs and that we'll look back at and we'll remember them as defining moments for NFTs, period, like in the NFT history books. And there were a lot of those moments. Let me see where I want to get us started, though, where I want to kick it off. Tell me, though, guys, while I'm pulling this together, what do you think were the most defining moments for NFTs? If you drop like your top 3 or so. Sly, that was probably damn near the top. You're absolutely right. And what's cool is this year, we have a clear bottom. There is a clear moment that was the bottom of this market, and it's awesome how, we say things like that, like a top signal, a bottom signal. They're real things. Like they can be a little abstract, but they're real. There's defining moments that cap off these periods. You got to learn how to look for them and sense them. In the moment, they're really, really hard to feel them, right? Because at that point, emotions take over, and you're always hoping, not the top, that there's much more to come. You're holding your bags, and you're praying for Valhalla. And the bottom, you're looking for anything to be the bottom signal. But yeah, you got to get good at realizing what those are when they happen. Yeah, and that's a great point, Andrew. Hoping all the chains win. That's the right take, man. Any chain that does well, any chain that wins, it's a win for the ecosystem. It's a win for the community. It's a win for the for the tech, and it's ultimately a win for bringing people into NFTs. So yeah, root for everybody. And what the hell is up with Cardano? I always thought they were going to be massive, and maybe they still will be, but I don't know. I will say though, Cardano, the value of those NFTs for a while was outperforming every other chain. So we do have a metric here. We do have an index that shows Cardano NFTs. So it's basically on pace with the other guys. In fact, you know what? They probably are beating these other chains if you look at year to date. So the broader market's still down 40%. I'm sorry, I hate that I'm bouncing around. Ethereum down 25% on the year. So we've not recovered all those losses, by the way. That's why early 2024 is going to be so exciting. Solana is actually up 4%. That means if you bought NFTs, let's say on January 1st, you are actually up. As opposed to every other chain like Polygon, you would be down 51%. But Cardano down just 0.5%. Those NFTs, as few as there are, and maybe, again, I don't want to say it's little value, but I'm going to say, I said it. You're still holding strong there. So Cardano's an ecosystem still to be watching. I just don't know when they compete with the big boys or if they ever will. So I'm going here to start. So I can't believe, all right, earlier this week, we saw Elon Musk tweet about NFTs, which kind of blows my mind because these are smart people. He's clearly smart guy. But like, are they actually looking at this stuff? Like, it boggles my mind because it's very clear to us in NFTs that narrative is from 3-4 months ago. The whole NFTs are dead. Your NFTs are 95% worthless. We're so far past that. But Elon Musk's still saying it. So, he's a busy guy. Maybe he's just not that plugged in. And I'm sure that's all it is. But who is New Scientist with their 4.3 million followers? And that's them tweeting out this morning. Yesterday morning. And like running with that same narrative, like how lazy is that? So I fired a reply there. Just showing, man, again, get some fresh numbers here. $1.7 billion in the past 30 days. So very, very far from dead. We're in a damn good spot. All right. So we're going to do that market review. We're going to talk those main events of the year. And also, like, you guys saw NFT Stats poll. It was a similar thing, like the top PFP collection, the top art. I want to review that because it was so much fun. I don't know if we'll end up getting to like current events news, like today, past 24 hour stuff, because there is a lot to talk about. Maybe I'll do that when the other guys join. And again, Henry is coming. But if we're talking about this year in NFTs, to me, it actually started the year before, and it actually started with Trump NFTs. Like, am I right in thinking these dropped, December 2022? Remember how dead we were right then? Like all years, like the second half of the year, we just see this slow spiral down. So 2021, it was SOS that brought our recovery. 2022, it was Trump cards. And that, to me, is what fed this first run, our early run. Yeah, we're going to get into that comment there because that's a good one. Trump NFTs fueled it. And why I'm showing this, I'm going to show just kind of what set the stage for what came. Because the other thing that really set the stage is this bad boy right here. So if you're not aware, yes, Bitcoin ordinals and inscriptions, they started really catching on January, February, right? I think I mentioned my first ordinal. If it wasn't February, it was March. But that's when the world took notice and when they started getting some trading volume and people started talking about them. But the first ordinal was actually minted in December 2022. None of us had any idea this was happening. I saw, what's the dude's name? He's like a YouTube streamer guy, like Giordano, whatever his name is, Geo something. Big dude. He's awesome too. But he pointed out Casey Rodomore, who's the creator of ordinals. He minted this, right? He made that protocol. He minted this. That tweet, him saying probably nothing and tweeting this out, at the time of that video, only had 30 likes. Like, this went so under the radar, people had no idea. But this is the first ever ordinal. And to me, that's the most important event of this year, and it didn't even happen this year. But then getting into the year, and guys, you got to plug in the holes for me. If I miss something, you got to tell me what I'm missing. But I think what started the year doesn't mean it was significant or it mattered or it moved the market, but culture stuff, community stuff. Dookie Dash. I think that was the first thing coming into 2023 that people were looking forward to, tied to Yuga Labs, people thinking it was going to lead to much more. And man, I'm not in that ecosystem, so I don't even remember what this led to. But that was the first thing I remember the community talking about. Does that sound right, guys? Was that the first kind of big thing, like on top of blur farming, and that is also coming up here. But on top of blur farming, it was Dookie Dash. That was the start of 2023. It's what everyone was talking about, what everyone was playing. It's what everybody was hoping was going to make him a millionaire. And it did make one person a millionaire here. Some YouTube gaming streamer, I think, who found this key, finished highest on the leaderboard. But this game was full of cheaters. And I think at one point they even pulled the game down because they had to deal with all these bots. Hey, Andrew, by the way, I did look into that. I'm going to pull it up. It is really, really interesting. You might not like my take, though. It's not a bad take. I'm just not very bullish on any other metaverse other than the M squared stuff, the improbable stuff. I think because we've seen how, I guess, things like Decentraland and, God, there's a few other ones. Like, man, these were supposed to be the biggest metaverses ever, and none of them played out. Like, I can't even recall their names now. There was something that starts with an S, and you could do it in VR. It wasn't like Solana something. It was Sol something. I cannot remember it. Those metaverses are, man, I just don't think, like even Sandbox, not thriving. Like, very few of these things are going to make it, especially with the M squared stuff where you can spin up your own instance, and it's cross-chain. It's multi-chain. Yes. Yeah. Open editions, you're right. Totally spot on. That was the meta for a bit here. So yeah, 2023 kicked off. Open edition. Art was going ballistic. That was during the Dookie Dash time. And then blur farming, right? Blur farming was kind of all the news. Check this out. I didn't love the blur farming stuff, partially because I don't play it. But I wrote about this. I wrote about this twice here. It's why I think we fell off so drastically, because what people were trading and trading based off of volume and, kind of FOMO and all that, they're not trading against real stuff. People were trading and hyped on wash sales. And so that's what I wrote about. That blur farming, yes, it was good for people to get liquidity, but we fell off that cliff in large part because that was keeping the market propped up. And once that blur stuff started kind of fizzling out, well, the market died, just died. So that's, to me, one of the biggest stories earlier in the year. It was the blur wash trading. It was the crazy volume, but that most of it wasn't real and absolutely fed into the deepest, darkest, coldest NFT winter we've experienced yet. Safe to say we're out of that now, right? I mean, like, we're done. What is wild, guys? Man, I don't know about I want to love Sandbox. I really do. I got plenty of Sandbox, assets, I guess, through Kongs. But even when I went into Kong's new, like, I don't remember the name of their land, but they've got land in Sandbox that went live. It's so janky, man. And it's not my computer, I don't think, but it's so hard to move around. And ultimately, you're just kind of playing fetch quests. I don't know if that's going to work anymore, especially with Roblox clearly signaling that they're coming into NFTs. Actually, that should be on this list somewhere. I mean, it wasn't a needle mover in any way, but Roblox is coming to NFTs. And man, still the Portal coin shit that sounds like PUBG is. I don't know about Sandbox, guys. Again, I love that. I love them. I've chatted with Sebastian before. He's fucking awesome. But I'm not sure that I'm bullish on that game and that ecosystem. If they moved to Ronin, I would be. But as is, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. All right, now this is kind of rewinding a bit. And man, I don't think I'm doing this list justice the way I'm moving through it. But Ordinals. Okay, we already talked about Ordinals, but Ordinals to me was probably, I mean, it is one of the most important things in the year. But earlier in the year was. Pull up some charts here. So beginning of the year when we were having all the, the wash trading, the FOMO stuff, the kind of wild action, it's where Bitcoin really started coming to life. So we talked about earlier, the first one was minted in December 2022. No volume, not no volume. It's actually interesting to see some people were trading them. One person, 19 people, 13, 4 people, like just crazy. Some people knew. Is that the Bitcoin cabal? So they were trading, but we all started catching on. It was more like March. And that was a big story back then at that point. I mean, let's be honest, 26 million is not nothing compared to what we were seeing on ETH. I mean, ETH was going ballistic at that point, but Bitcoin was doing numbers too. To me, that's a very early story of the year, or an early highlight in the year was Bitcoin Ordinals actually doing some numbers, and the buyers sellers too. I mean, people were actually interested at that point, although pales into comparison to where we're at now. So I guess at the peak in, let's say, first half of the year, 16,000 buyers. Wow, we're kind of just at the same levels here. Wow. So in a way, as hot as Bitcoin is now, it's not grown. That can't be true, guys, because I know so many more people that are in Bitcoin now. Feels like everybody. But how are the buyers the exact same? Maybe now it's more that it's sustained, right? Like pretty regularly, you're keeping that amount of buyers, sellers. Back then, it was a blip on the radar. It was just a day. But interesting stuff. Yeah, Bitcoin Ordinals, one of the most important, I guess, narratives or metas of the year. And you see where that's led us to with Bitcoin, I think, consistently being the number one blockchain. I don't think they've let go of that spot now in probably a month, which is crazy, guys. That's crazy to think about. Look at that. Look at the 30 days. Bitcoin alone is getting close to $1 billion. And yes, okay, most of that, I think it's fair to say most of that, let's say half of it, or a majority, it's BRC20s. It still is fungible assets that are backed by an NFT. So it's fair to mention that. It's fair to call that out. Same rules apply across the board. You've got Ethereum collections that are very much the same. Hell, 1155s are fungible assets. What are you guys farming? What are you talking about? What are we farming, guys? But yeah, Bitcoin, I think, very, very big early, I guess, early year story. But then what was our catalyst? Why did we fall off a cliff so hard? I've actually been struggling to think of that this morning. Like, I can't think of the moment where all of a sudden we took a nosedive. And, like, let's look at the chart again to see when that actually happened. Was it, I mean, okay, this is probably an obvious thing. Was it when, I feel like it's tied to Blur. Was it when season 1 rewards came out and they weren't worth much, like people had lost? Am I thinking about this right? Again, I never traded it, so I don't know. Like, I've got really bad perspective on that. But what happened? We're not going to go by sales volume because we filtered that out. I think buyers sellers is kind of key here. What happened? I guess we really started fizzling out in August. So, okay, I need like a reality check here, guys. What was the moment where we did fizzle out? And what was the catalyst for it? Because if it was August, if it was July, August, there were a couple major stories, and those are our next points here, that happened in July, August. So I can't think of why we died at the same time as those. I don't know. All right. Well, think on that. Tell me what's missing. There's a story that's missing here. There just has to be. But we'll move on to our next story, the next major event this year. By the way, Jack Butcher's somewhere in here. I don't know where to place him, but Checks was this year. Pretty damn sure. O'Peppins were this year. And those were the narrative all year long. So I couldn't find a defining moment for them, when to insert them here, but Checks were absolutely, and O'Peppin absolutely a main story this year. This is probably one of our biggest, though. This was such a big deal. So Dmitry Cherniak's Ringer, the Goose, that was auctioned at Sotheby's. That sold for over $6 million. Now, the real sale price was in the low $5 million range. That extra was all fees, so like $1 million in fees. Meme coins, guys, that's a good one. Yeah, Pepe. So we did have meme coin season, and that was, guys, was that what killed the NFT momentum? I think it was, right? That was in the springtime. So we had the Blur farming and all that craziness. That fizzled out, but it was Pepe season. That's a good call. Yeah, that's a really great call. I'm going to try to pull that up here. But yeah, Ringers. Tell me, okay, between meme coin season and Ringers, was there anything in there? This sale, though, man, this was such a big deal. And when I mentioned earlier that we're going to have moments in a couple of years we look back at as defining moments for the year, but defining moments for NFTs, period, this is it. This is absolutely one of those. And it's not like we need anybody to legitimize generative art, and we don't need anybody to legitimize NFTs to us. But the rest of the world still does, or did. And when you see an NFT, a generative art NFT, sell for $6 million on a platform at an auction house like Sotheby's, again, not for us, but for other people, it does legitimize them in a really, really big way. And something like that possibly not quite led to this, but you know, you can see kind of a snowball effect when the Museum of Modern Art, well, they brought in their first ever NFT with the Winzi Yawanawa artist Rafik. So that NFT they brought into their collection was called unsupervised machine. Is it machine learning? Unsupervised machine. I'll call it that. I keep questioning it because I got that name wrong so many times in articles I wrote. I went back and read them. I'm like, shit, I put the wrong name down. And that was stuff that was like on Yahoo, so bad look. But anyway, this, a very, very big deal for the world of generative art, more so for NFTs. And it's got to give you more confidence in some of those special collections, those special art collections. This is a defining one. It just pretty damn special. Now, around that same time, and in a way why I'll say the summer was all about art, you had the Goose that sold, and not long after that was the Monument game, which, guys, what an incredible thing. And this was on NFT Stats poll, you know, talking about the biggest art moment for the year. I don't think he had the Goose on there, though. I think he had Winds of Yawanawa. I think he had the Monument game, and I don't think he had the Goose on there. I think his poll was talking about new art. And the Goose, of course, isn't new. That's from 2 years ago. 2020, I think, is when that came out. But Sam Spratt, this absolutely, man, I don't think I have the words to describe this. It's a digital painting, though. Like, this is not AI. There's nothing generative here. There's nothing here but hands-on labor of love that took this man countless hours, days, weeks, months. Look at that. I mean, guys, look at that. I'm an art collector first and foremost, and I wish this is stuff I could get into. But what's cool is, even though I could never afford this piece, which ended up going for like $700,000, he made it accessible to everyone with this, man, like game-changing collaborative experience between the artist and the collector. So you guys remember he had these 250 or so editions. I hope I got that number right. But these player tokens, you buy the token, they were sold on Nifty Gateway, and I want to say they went for probably 3 ETH. But if you bought that, you basically got to inscribe on this this piece of work. You got to add some of the narrative. So you could pick a spot, you could add a quote, you could add some story, some lore, and that became a piece of this artwork. And I think that's now something that others are starting to do. Like we saw, is it Seneca from the Bored Ape artist? She is something that feels kind of similar with a piece through Transient Labs that you as a holder, well, you have a piece of art that evolves, I think maybe through things you do, but it becomes part of this more cohesive collection. To me, this is the start of it and is the start of a different way for artists and, again, collectors to really work together, to collaborate on a piece. In a way, it reminds me of on FX Hash. You have these NFTs that have parameters you can adjust, and I love that. It brings you into the creation experience. It's exactly what Monument Game did. So this very, very special moment for NFTs. It was a special moment for art, and it just occurred at a time where, man, we were dead. Nothing was going on, and we needed something to focus on. Everyone was focused on this, at least for this few-week period. Just a kind of a beautiful moment where we can just kind of take in the art. And with it being so expensive, you could still take it in and enjoy the process. Wonderful moment from this year. Now, here's another one. I have trouble finding where exactly to insert it in the timeline, but I feel like it was around this time. And I got the worst possible screenshot for it because this is very, very recent. But Luca Nets, Pudgy Penguins, Walmart, actually. When exactly did that happen? Because I feel like that was like late summer. Was that November? That couldn't be November, right? Okay, September. That sounds right. Yeah, to me, that was the next milestone. And of course, I'm sure I'm missing some things in between and probably some that need to be up on here. But Pudgy Penguins in 2,000 Walmart stores across the country. And by the way, they were already on Amazon. I think they were in Toys R Us too. I don't remember when they got in Macy's, but what a shit picture. Like, why are we not showing actual Pudgy Penguins? But significant event in the thick. Really, this was the thick of the bear market. The start of it, but also deep into it. No, it definitely wasn't the start. This was deep into the bear market. This was deep into people like me saying NFTs are dead, like dead and will be dead for years. I really believe that, guys. Like, I really believe that we would not see any type of return, any type of run like we're seeing right now. I didn't think we'd see that for years. So I'm shocked by what's going on now. But in the thick of that, Luca Nets, being the absolute brilliant business mind that he is, got the Pudgy Penguins in 2,000 Walmart stores. And people love these, man. People absolutely love these Pudgy Penguins. In fact, how much do people love them? I'm sure you guys have seen this. Okay, sorry, I'm lost. I have a couple Google Docs with all of my notes here. But again, how much people love these? Here we go. This is much more recent, right? Did you guys see this? Hope you guys can hear this. Guys, if Luca didn't put these in Walmart, they wouldn't have gotten shown to his how many million strong audience? Like, this live stream had 100,000 people in it. And he showed Pudgy Penguins. Never would have happened without Luca Nets. This was so recent. This is not moving the needle right now. But man, that's a thing that's going to pay off down the road for sure. Because the audience loved it. If you see in that chat, actually, look at the people's comments. Even when he said NFTs, all W's. And that only happened because of Luca Nets and his building and his pushing the brand, his pushing the IP, him getting it into Walmart. That was a very, very significant for NFTs this year. But again, another example of something we look back at down the road, and we see that as a very, very defining milestone for NFTs. Absolutely. Hey, I need to share this out, by the way. Totally forgot. I hate sharing it out. I don't want people to join, but I should. I should. All right, there we go. Oh, I hate doing that. Okay. What do you guys think? That Pudgy Penguins thing, it's not even a question. I was going to say it belongs up there. It absolutely does. There's no question about it. Pudgy Penguins, Walmart, much more to come from those guys. We'll even get into Pudgy World. I'm not going to put it in our top, happenings for this year because it's not a this year thing. Still a big announcement, and that'll probably make it on next year's list. Pudgy World launching, I think, will be a pretty big moment for NFTs. All right, now what comes in the midst of all that? This is actually a little bit before, but Friendtech. Okay, that was a big moment in NFTs too. It was before the Pudgy Penguins, before the Walmart thing. That was this summer, and actually that was one of those catalysts that was pulling people from NFTs. You weren't making profits anywhere. The blur farming stuff wasn't happening. But it was definitely happening on Friendtech for a while and trading keys. And you can see that. Millions a day in sales volume. So when we're talking about those catalysts, the thing that put an end to the NFT run, and I'm not going to call that a bull run, but what put an end to that, it in large part was Friendtech and SoFi platforms kind of in general. Now they fell off a cliff. We're going to talk about why here. I think everybody knows why. I'm just thinking if that makes sense for right now too. But Friendtech, yeah, that's not even just an honorable mention. Friendtech was a big deal. I mean, for 2 months. For 2 months at least, and in NFTs, that's 2 years. So you got to give it to Friendtech for being a milestone moment for this year at the very least, right? Now, during this time, this is where we got our bottom signal this year. This was it. Low-hanging fruit, this article here. And not wrong, by the way, but something we already knew. We knew it. We were living through it. But also, we know how NFTs trade. We know that NFTs trade in cycles. We know that NFTs start hot at the beginning of the year. Every year, again, like we're thinking's happening next year. But yeah, we started the year hot, and all of a sudden we crash. Every year that happens. So down 95%, yes, we know. The masses don't know that. But it's exactly the pattern that NFTs take every single year. And down 95%, exactly that is what happens. Every new run, it's new NFTs that come and cycle through. So we expect when we buy NFTs, you don't hold them because they're not coming back on the next run. So on the index, when we look at the value of NFTs, we see it here. We've always seen it here. But before those guys were reporting on it, oh shit. We're not down 95% anymore, though, by the way. We're down 90%. Honestly, that doesn't sound like much, but that's it's definitely worth pointing out. But man, everything had been down since 2022. We already knew it was down 95%. Again, low-hanging fruit, but we're talking about signals. We're talking about tops and we're talking about bottoms. Ooh. This was one. This was it. I can't think of anything else that was more of a bottom signal than this. So it didn't kill the space in any way, too. We were already dead. But defining moment for NFTs was that report coming out, the mainstream running with it, CNN, MSNBC, everyone, Bloomberg, everybody was talking about that narrative. NFTs worthless. Of course, I wrote my counter to it. What was up? I can't even remember, though. I wrote we're down, yes. I can't remember what was up 5,200%. It might have been like all-time sales volume. That's exactly what it was. Measuring from 2020 to where we were at in 2023, NFTs are actually up 52,000% in sales volume. So their narrative, like more than misleading, it's just misleading. I was going to say it's not wrong, it's not inaccurate, but it's not the full picture, and I do think it's a little deceptive. But again, our bottom signal, and that leads us to our recovery. And man, October, we were all talking about Uptober. And yes, this is in October, but we were all hoping for an Uptober. It's where we started really cooking with news of the Bitcoin ETF. That was kind of bubbling up for a good portion of the year. But I think October was around the period where we were starting to get, I think, news that the approval was close. I think there were multiple times in October, it might have even been before, but where we were told, hey, deadline's this date, approval's either coming or it's getting denied. There's a lot of hype starting to come in around that. And in fact, I should probably pull up a Bitcoin chart because that's going to tell us a lot about our recovery too. It kind of coincided with this. So Bitcoin did have an Uptober like it always does. I think 9 of the past 10 years it's done that. But NFTs had our first Uptober ever. And then that led into The Simpsons covering NFTs again. Timing is perfect, man. They just like a perfect storm. The Bitcoin ETF news, crypto starting to do well. And then all of a sudden the culture's starting to see and hear NFTs again, and not the worthless story, although that's kind of in here too. But the fact that people are talking about it, and the fact that there are still grails, even in the bear market, there are still grails. So yes, somehow, some way, this is a major part of the story this year. Using that same kind of term, did it move the needle? I don't know. I actually don't know. It actually might have. It's definitely a piece of this puzzle, though. And it definitely was a milestone event. It was a significant thing that happened this year, really important thing. And actually, it's a perfect example of something we're going to look back at, and we're going to remember that as a milestone this year. Guys, I remember, though, what really led to our October recovery. I don't know if I have... Yeah, I don't think I have an article that shows it. We can look at Dune, though. That's where we come back to this, okay? The October recovery for NFTs came at the expense of Friendtech here. Like, Friendtech fell off a cliff. Do you guys remember what happened right around here? There was two things, really. But I want to give you a chance. If anybody remembers what happened, I'll get you started. One of them was a security incident over on Dune. I think it was something with two-factor authentication. But what really happened here, I'll just spill it, just so we keep it moving. What really happened was the announcement of the end of Blur Season 2. The announcement of Season 3 started. Okay, and this part I don't know. I can't remember. But is this when Blast was announced? I'm going to have to look that up. I think Blast was announced then, too. No, maybe Blast came in November. Okay, but for sure, the end of Season 2 and the start of Season 3 was announced here. That's what started the recovery for NFTs. Kind of like the beginning of 2023, though, right? Just brought back liquidity, brought back wash trading. But it kicked us into our first ever October. Then you got the Simpsons thing. It all started flowing from there. Then the ETF news just kept cooking. Now, since then, what were our major events? Because I don't think I have anything. I mean, we still have O'Peppins that we're rocking. Maybe, Jack Butcher stuff gets inserted here. But at this point, I'm at a loss for any other major events. I think that kind of brings us to maybe the biggest happenings. That feels wrong, though. There's got to be some other, like, catalysts here. Solana, of course, right? Like, I don't know how to fit that in either, but Solana starting to cook all of a sudden is certainly in this conversation. But yeah, a lot happened this year. And again, all those things I mentioned are milestones. Anybody who's going to write like the NFT history books, those are all moments that show up in that. So NFT stats poll, I like this, by the way, a lot. But his poll, let's just review it. I don't know if you guys ended up voting in it. I did it. I don't agree with all of it. But his PFP of the year, Pudgy Penguins as the winner, I think that makes a ton of sense. I mean, God, this jogs my memory with some other things like Mad Lads. And their parent company, Backpack, launching what are they launching? A DEX, right? They're launching a crypto exchange over in Dubai. It's a big deal. But Pudgy Penguins, your top PFP collection of the year. I like that. Daily content creator of the year. I don't watch Rec Mando. I really probably should. I didn't vote for that, though. I think I voted for Tyler. I love Tyler's show, man. And I've said this before. I'm a Tyler stan. He's got my vote. I think it's my style. And Roger Dickerman, different kind of show, only art focused. He's awesome too, and so is B-Check. All excellent. Rec Mando, though, just stomped the competition. I have to start watching that. I thought Rec Mando was a pure degen, and that's why I didn't watch it. Now I learned he's actually like a legit trading gigabrain. So I got to start watching him. Okay, Art Blocks collection of the year, and this is for new collections. The Harvest wins this. Truthfully, I can't remember the Harvest. Is that this? Yeah, it is. Yeah. Oh, these were gorgeous. Yeah, I forgot all about these. I voted for Cargo, though. I think Cargo's it. Man, these are gorgeous, though. Jesus. Yeah, maybe I changed my mind on this. That's pretty incredible. Yeah, so there's your collection of the year. Damn it, did I lose? No, I didn't. I think Cargo. And I'm like Gifted. I'm nothing but full of regrets from selling mine. Way too cheap too. New art project of the year. This is when we get into the Monument game and Winds of Yawanawa. Winds of Yawanawa 1. It maybe was a bigger deal than the Monument game, but I don't actually know if that's true. Maybe in the mainstream because, man, Rafiq was on the Las Vegas Sphere. He was on CNN. Guy was everywhere. And he's kind of ascended to, maybe almost the Beeple level. Not quite there, but, man, he's now in that top tier, kind of circle of artists where Sam Spratt isn't, even though as far as skills and talents and, significance goes, he's up there. So I vote Monument Game for new art project of the year. I think it's more impactful. I think it's more game-changing. I think it's more trend-setting. That might not be true because AI art with Winds of Yawanawa, I guess it was already a trend. Okay, so I don't see Winds of Yawanawa as being anything that was super innovative. It was just cool as fuck. I mean, just a gorgeous piece of work. We're pulling that up. Shitty video to do this with, but will that clear up? Because, man, you got to do a piece like this justice. Yeah, that ain't going to work. Sorry. Let me find one other. That's a little better. Yeah. Guy, I mean, man, it's such a beautiful collection. Our boy Biggie got, I think, multiple of these. Biggie Poppins, who is just, man, I'm so grateful to have gotten to know him this year. Nifty Q and Gifted, awesome, just awesome dudes. That was random, but they've been so kind to have me on their show this year, the NFT live show. Which, guys, at the very end, I'm going to put up a link to them. If you're not following them and not watching those shows, you absolutely should be. one of the best out there. In fact, they should be in the content creator of the year running. Reason they're not, same reason I'm not. NFT stats criteria for that is Twitter threads, like Twitter content, like newsletters, which I do put mine out, but he wants it on Twitter. So I'm going to start doing that next year. But anyway, Winzy Yawanawa, that's your art project of the year. Spaces of the year, Coffee with Captain. You can't argue with that. Of course, my vote goes to Lucky Lead again because Tyler, I think, is just excellent. But Coffee with Captain's your winner. Spaces is that. Now that is where Nifty Q and Gifted should be competing because their Web3 show, again, excellent. That's a daily Spaces on top of the live show they do on YouTube. So they got both shows. They'll be up here. Ordinal's Project of the Year, Bitcoin Frogs, your winner. I don't agree. I don't disagree either. I don't think there was a standout Ordinal's project. Maybe Bitcoin Shrooms, which were sold at Sotheby's for, man, those made like $400,000, I think, across just 3 NFTs. So maybe Bitcoin Shrooms should be on here. Now, if those Node Monkeys released earlier in the year, that would have been it. It would have been them. It's definitely not Ordinal Punks. Goosenals I could make a case for, too. Those are using Dmitry Cherniak's Goose Generator. Community just blew up around those things. So they should be higher than 4%. That's for sure. Creator of the Year, Jack Butcher. Yes. Hard to not agree with that, right? Jack Butcher, like we mentioned, with the checks, with the O'Peppins, with his trademark and signature collections. Jack Butcher, so many drops this year. Every single one of them interesting, thought-provoking, unique. He makes you think, man. Every single one of his works, his collections does exactly that. It's very much less about the actual output of the art, even though that is still great, but it's about the thought behind it and how that ties into the output. I love it. I love everything about Jack Butcher. Guy's pretty damn incredible. Emerging one artist of the year, Die with the Most Likes. I've liked this guy for years. Been collecting him on Tezos for years now. It's just awesome seeing him get his time in the spotlight. He'll be a dude for a while. He's just he's super likable. His art's super unique. Guy's incredible. And Blockchain of the Year, this is the one I strongly disagree with. I hate this result. I love NFT stats. I don't like this result at all. And he's got nothing to do with the result. It's just who his audience is. It's a lot of ETH guys. Ethereum had a year. That's it. They just had a year. They didn't have a special year. In fact, it was a pretty down year. I don't think anything really noteworthy happened on Ethereum. Even though projects that we've mentioned today are all happening on Ethereum, it's par for the course. Now, Bitcoin, on the other hand, essentially, NFTs invented on the blockchain this year. Inscriptions, though. Okay, I say it's Bitcoin specifically because of inscriptions, because of the BRC20s that now dominate the collection rankings, and they are NFTs, right? Even if they're fungible assets, they're backed by an NFT. They are NFT collections at this point. So the blockchain of the year is Bitcoin because of their influence and their domination of the culture. I know people don't feel it. If you're an ETH trader, you don't feel the culture on Bitcoin. You got to go over there and feel it because it's a different group of people. In fact, I learned that the people trading on Bitcoin, a lot of them, it's their first ever NFT. They don't trade Ethereum NFTs or Solana NFTs. They trade Bitcoin ordinals. But the impact of these BRC20s, man, look, Ethereum's top collection in the week, it's an ERC, I don't want to call it an ERC20, but it's an inscription bundle. These INS20s. And then on Solana, now copying, now getting in on the mix. This is where the meme coins are coming from on Solana, all that DeFi stuff. I'm like really sure those are all SPL20s. And you got inscriptions over on Ethereum. Man, Bitcoin was the leader this year. They were the leader in innovation, even if you can consider it kind of weak tech. The fact that they invented tech that now everybody's using. So yeah, to me, Bitcoin is the clear winner of the year. I wish we had a year-to-date metric on here. I'd love to see how Bitcoin stacks up against Ethereum and the other blockchains, but clearly the past couple months, the 30-day periods, Bitcoin's destroyed everyone. So came on strong late in the year, started the year strong too. It's Bitcoin's the winner there. I invalidate this. I'm crossing it out. That poll, no good. Disqualified. That's where we're at, guys. Anything else Like any other major events that were missed. What else happened this year that has to be on this list? Because we had a good list. It was good variety. I think we hit most of the major things, but with like for sure something is missed that really should be up there. You could pull in later things. Again, these aren't like year defining moments. These are more recent current events. Kevin Rose and getting just absolutely beat the fuck up about his Moonbirds. Turn into ketamine. I don't like people beating this guy up too. I think it's shitty. He could be a poor leader. He could be bad for the Moonbirds brand and collection and the value of them. All those things. And still, I don't like how he's treated. And yet you could say you invite that as a project founder. That's just kind of what happens to leaders. That is true. That happens in the real world and in business. When your company's not doing well, when you make a misstep, the CEO is usually out, right? They take the fall. But I think stomping on them while they're down and while they're struggling is not the way. So, yeah, I don't love seeing the way the community's treated him as of late. I don't think I don't want to say he doesn't deserve it. Nobody deserves it. But it's fair game to a point when you are the founder, when you're the leader, and when you've made as much money as he had or has. I guess still to a point fair. So I'm going to start wrapping this up, but with some things to be looking out for, some things to be excited for next year. And I pointed out earlier just that trend, that 2021 trend. Each year the trend we see heading into the new year and the way the market just explodes. And we're going to see that again with 1 billion and counting ready to unlock in the early, well, I guess spring, maybe late winter. A lot of that. I mean, I don't know how much, but it's coming to NFTs. It's a matter of what chain. It's going to stay in Blast. Are people going to move over to Bitcoin? Are they going to move to Solana? But yeah, a lot of liquidity coming from there. We also have the Frame airdrop. And Frame, man, these guys. So they tweeted out just a few days ago, since their inception, since they opened up their airdrop claim, they had 1.5 million wallets sign up. They got 160,000 Twitter followers. They're backed by Luca Nets. They're backed by some other big names. Maybe, is it D's? Or Dingaling? There's some big names in there, and I get them all mixed up at this point. But very serious advisors, backers, whatever they are to the project. Frame is going to be really, really, just a big, big deal. And enforcing royalties at the blockchain level. All those conversations we had in the marketplace wars and the talk about royalties, this is how you fix it. You don't fix it on Twitter Spaces arguing the same thing for days and weeks and months on end. You fix it by building something that fixes it. That's what Frame's doing. Man, again, a lot to look forward to next year, and a lot of it surrounding these couple platforms. And then this is where I'll end. We've talked about mainstream exposure this year, right? Like The Simpsons, great example. Kai Cenat, I don't even know if I say his name right. I don't watch the dude, but those guys showing NFTs to their audience. The audience, the masses are getting exposed to NFTs in a different way, and I know this has gone under the radar, that people don't know anything about it. We've had 2 tweets in the past month here from generative artists, and these tweets have gone like giga-viral. Like giga-viral. This tweet right here, 38 million views. Biblically Accurate Angel. This is from an NFT artist. And he got credited in these community notes, which is awesome. And then you have Bjorn Stahl. So he tweeted out this wild little, what do you call it? It's just a blob. But the way it interacts between multiple browsers, it's just magic, right? Captures people's attention. That tweet got like 10 million views. Okay, now both of those guys have drops coming next year. In fact, Bjorn Stahl, he's got a drop coming to Art Blocks early next week. So some quick alpha. I mean, man, that's gonna explode. Check this out. In 4 days here. Really cool piece of work. He's got his newfound fame. Dude went from, I want to say like 10,000 followers up to 50,000 plus. So this drop's going to do really, really well next week. Wonder how far it can fall. I don't know what the starting price is, but assuming it's a Dutch auction. God, these are gorgeous. I don't remember looking at these outputs. But yeah, there's some alpha for you. That's coming next week. Again, 4 days off. This guy viral. It's going to do well. Guys, we'll do one last chance. If there's comments coming in, I don't see them, and that's fine. But if there's anything I missed, drop it here. Otherwise, we're going to get ready to wrap in just a second. And unfortunately, Henry did not make it, but for good reason. I know he's tied up with something really, really important. Just going to do a quick skim. Quick skim of anything important that was missed here. And by the way, this is the last live show of the year, but it is not the last show of the year. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to do my typical 5-minute video, so we'll get caught up in the market. In fact, tomorrow, let's end on this, actually. Tomorrow's going to be interesting because I guess you'll get a sneak peek. Last day of the year, we can do a review of the year. So we're going to look at 2023 compared to 22, compared to 21. And you can see in this modern NFT market, this was our lowest year in terms of sales volume. But look at other metrics, and I think those are much, much more important. A yearly high for sellers, a yearly high, and I'll call them all-time highs, an all-time high for sellers, an all-time high for total transactions. The biggest difference here this year, well, trade profits, it's hard to not miss that one. It's the average sale price. Crypto dumped so hard this year, right? I mean, it was a very, very rough year for crypto. So new types of NFTs are out there. L2s are a big part of this conversation, right? So cheaper NFTs, other blockchains, lower sales prices, but more active in a way than ever. So when NFTs become popular, become trendy, become cool again, this is us basically at our bottom. That number of unique buyers. So when it becomes cool again and the people come running in and new people come running in, those transaction numbers are going to be something it's going to be hard to fathom. Crypto is almost definitely going to be a much higher price, so we're going to see that up. Makes me very, very sure that at least next year, we're going to put 2023 to shame. 2020, right there, 2023. I think next year we're going to be more on par with possibly 2022. I think we got a chance, but I think we're going to demolish this year here. Demolish it. So I'm very, very excited about 2024. Just, I don't think I could be more bullish, and I can't believe the about face I've done here. Oh, I want to switch my view. Hang on. Just because I made these graphics, I changed my layouts. I want to try it. We're going to end on that note. Here we go. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So, next year, the market's going to cook. It's going to cook. I almost see no way it doesn't, unless those ETFs are not approved. And if those are not approved, all these things go out the window. We're in trouble at that point. Then we go into a deep, dark bear, maybe that makes this past year look tame. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I think all the writing's on the wall that ETF is coming. So really, really exciting stuff on the horizon. Now, on a personal front, this show is getting a buff, right? Again, you can see with these graphics, I'm starting to, play around and get that stepped up because there's new types of shows coming. Got a couple interviews lined up. They're going to be fun. They're going to be quick, rapid fire style. Picture this, 5-minute interviews with some of the biggest names you got out there. We'll chop them up, make them look cool for you. And then we've got some other shows coming. All I can do is just tease that more is to come. And it may involve my family here. So it's going to get pretty awesome. So with that said, guys, I'm going to check comments one last time here. Oh, Dad, good to see you, brother. Happy you made it. And Dad, you're welcome up anytime. I'm wrapping this show. But you know how this goes. This is not my show, man. This is our show. This is for the idiots. This is for the community as a whole. So you guys welcome anytime. And I hope everybody knows that without saying. If anybody wants to come up and chat while we do these shows, you come up and chat while we do these shows. So, guys, pleasure doing this, hanging with you again. Hope you enjoyed the year in review. And then next week, we'll be back with our live show. I think Henry will be here, and we'll have the whole gang. But today, flew solo and actually had a good time doing it. It's pretty fun. If I don't talk to you, enjoy your New Year's, guys. And I'll see you tomorrow with our 5-minute video. I'll see you.